Yo! Okay. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Luna, and we are playing Fortline today. And guys, I have a story for you. Not just like a little story. I'm talking a full-on cinematic, should be a movie, I cannot believe this actually happened story. And I'm going to tell you the whole thing while we play today, because honestly, it's too good to keep to myself. Okay, we're dropping in. Let me land somewhere safe first. I'm not dying in the first 30 seconds. I have a story to tell. Wow, okay. I guess I am dying in the first 30 seconds. Jeez. Okay, so I have this friend named Zoe. Now, I need you to understand something about Zoe before I even start this story. Zoe is the kind of person who watches one TikTok tutorial and immediately thinks she can do something that professional people train for years to do. Like, this girl watched 3 episodes of a cooking show and tried to make a 5-course meal for her whole family. It was not good. We don't talk about the soup. But the thing about Zoe, and I say this with so much love, is that she is so confident. Like, she never doubts herself, not even a little. And usually that's kind of amazing. She's the most fun person in our whole friend group. Like, Zoe walks into a room and suddenly it's a party. But sometimes that confidence gets us into situations that we did not sign up for. And this story is one of those situations. All right, let me build for a second so I don't die. So about 2 months ago, on Friday afternoon, I'm sitting with my friends. There's me, Zoe, Hannah, and Bailey, and we're all just hanging out, kind of bored, scrolling on our phones. And Zoe looks up from her phone with this look on her face. You know the look that means she has an idea. And she goes, "Okay guys, I think we need to do something this summer, something memorable, something fun." And we're all like, "Okay, what are you thinking?" And she goes, "Glamping." So for those who don't know, glamping is like glamorous camping. Like, you still sleep outside, but it's supposed to be cute and cozy and aesthetic. Think string lights, cute tents, matching pajamas, little lanterns. It sounds amazing, honestly. And Zoe pulls out her phone and shows us this TikTok of this gorgeous campsite. There's a little fire pit, there's fairy lights everywhere, there are these really cute little tents, and someone's making s'mores, and it looks incredible. And all 4 of us immediately lose our minds. We're like, yes, Zoe, this is the one. This is the summer plan. Bailey starts talking about what snacks we're gonna bring. Hannah is already looking up the cutest camping outfits. I'm Googling campfire recipes, and we are all in. And Zoe is already planning the content. She's like, okay, we're gonna document everything. We're gonna have so many photos. It's gonna be so cute. Oh, hold on. I need to handle these two. So here's the thing. Zoe was in charge of booking the campsite. We all trusted her. We gave her our share of the money and said, "You've got this." And she did book a campsite, technically. But what she booked and what she described to us were 2 very different things. The TikTok she showed us, that was not the campsite we booked. That was not even the same state as the campsite we booked. What she actually booked was a basic campground. Like a real, basic, here's a patch of grass, good luck campground. But we didn't know this yet. On the day of the trip, we all showed up to Zoe's house with our bags and we were hyped. We had snacks, we had matching tie-dye pajamas that Bailey made for us. And I mean, she made them, she actually tie-dyed them herself. They were so cute. And we pile into Zoe's older sister's car and we drive about 45 minutes out of town. And then we arrive. Y'all, there were no fairy lights. There were no cute little lanterns. There was no aesthetic fire pit setup. There was no nothing. There was a field, and a fire pit that was just like a circle of rocks someone had arranged on the ground, and the wooden post with a site number on it. That was it. We all just stood there for a second in silence, like 4 people whose dreams just crumbled in real time. And Bailey, okay, so Bailey is the most polite person you will ever meet in your life. She doesn't complain about anything. And even she looked at Zoe and went, "Is this it?" And Zoe, remember, Zoe has never doubted herself a day in her life. Zoe goes, "Okay, it looks a little different from the photos, but we can work with this. We just have to be creative." Creative. She said creative. Hold up. Why are so many people hiding high up today? So we decide, okay, fine. We're here. We paid for this. We're going to make it work. We're going to have a good time. Positive vibes only. First mission, set up the tent. Now, none of us had ever actually set up a tent before. Not once. But how hard could it be, right? Guys, it took us an hour and 15 minutes. An hour and 15 minutes for one tent. The instructions that came with the tent were, I kid you not, in 3 languages. And none of them were English. And like, English was technically on the paper, but whoever wrote the English translation was clearly just guessing. It said things like, insert pole B into sleeve of sky. And we were like, what does that mean? What is the sleeve of sky, Zoe? Eventually, we got the tent up. Kind of. It was a little lopsided. One side was significantly more horizontal than the other, but it was standing, technically. We chose to celebrate this. Then we tried to get Wi-Fi. We could not get Wi-Fi. There was basically no signal out there. And at first we were like, okay, unplugged weekend, digital detox, we're fine. But then we realized that also meant we couldn't look anything up. No campfire tutorials, no recipes, no help of any kind. We were truly out there alone. The good news is we got the campfire going, eventually, after Hannah almost burned her eyebrows off, which she was not happy about because she just filled them in really nicely that morning. I'm sorry, Hannah, if you're watching this. So we're sitting around this campfire, we've got our snacks, we've got our matching tie-dye pajamas on, and honestly, it was actually kind of cute. The vibe was coming together. We were laughing and talking and making s'mores, and for a little while it felt like, okay, Zoe was right. This is actually kind of fun. And then Bailey said, did you guys hear that? We all went quiet. There was something rustling in the bushes near our food bag. We had this big tote bag with all our snacks in it just sitting by the picnic table, and something was messing with it. We all kind of grabbed each other, and Zoe, being Zoe, immediately goes, it's probably just the wind. There was no wind. We stared at the bag. The bag rustled again, and then for just a second, just a half a second, we saw 2 little eyes reflecting in the firelight, and then the thing ran away. We didn't know what it was, but we were officially nervous. Hannah wanted to leave right then, but Zoe convinced us that whatever it was scared of us and probably wouldn't come back. We moved the snack bag inside the tent just to be safe. We put out the fire around midnight and we went to bed. And for a little while, everything was fine. It was actually nice. It was quiet and dark and the stars were really pretty and we were all just drifting off to sleep in our lopsided tent. It was around 2 a.m. when everything went wrong. Okay. So, 2 a.m. Everyone is asleep. And then we hear it. The most unhinged sound. Like a scraping, rustling, crashing, chaotic sound coming from right outside the tent. And we all wake up at the exact same time like we've been launched. And Zoe, who remember, told us it was just the wind and it wouldn't come back, she sits up and, that is not the wind. We unzip the tent just a tiny bit to look out. And guys, there is a raccoon sitting on top of our open snack bag. And this raccoon has absolutely zero fear. Zero. It is not scared of us at all. We unzip the tent and it just looks at us like it's annoyed that we're there, like we're the ones intruding. And it has a bag of chips in its little hands. Our chips. Our barbecue chips that Hannah specifically requested because they're her favorite. And this raccoon is just eating them, looking us dead in the eye, completely unbothered. So Zoe decides she's going to scare it away. She grabs one of our flashlights and she starts waving it at the raccoon. And the raccoon does not care. It literally just blinks at her. Then Hannah yells from inside the tent, and she has a very loud voice when she's scared, and that did make the raccoon flinch. So then we're all yelling, like 4 girls screaming at 2 a.m. in the middle of a campsite. I don't even want to know what the other campers thought was happening. The raccoon finally drops the chips, the empty bag of chips. It had already eaten all of them, and it waddles off into the darkness. And we think, okay, crisis over, let's go back to sleep. Except, Bailey looks around the tent and goes, "Where's Hannah?" Wait, no, not today. Okay, anyway, where was I? Hannah was not in the tent. In all the chaos of the raccoon, Hannah had gotten scared and kind of wandered. Like she'd half woken up, heard the screaming, and stumbled out of the tent, and then not come back. And with no flashlight and no signal, and it being 2 in the morning in the middle of the woods, she had gotten turned around. We're calling her name. "Hannah! Hannah!" And we can't hear anything back. Now Bailey, sweet, calm, always polite Bailey, starts fully panicking. Like I have never seen her panic before, but she was pacing and going, okay, in a way that was not okay. And Zoe has her phone out and she still only has like 1 bar of service. And she goes, "I'm calling someone." And we're like, "Okay, yes, call Hannah." And she goes, "Hannah doesn't have her phone. She left it in the tent." So Bailey goes, "Call your sister." And Zoe goes, "My sister won't pick up at 2 a.m. And I go, "Zoe, who are you calling?" And Zoe looks at me and goes, 911. So Zoe calls 911 and she goes, and I'm quoting, she goes, "Hi, yes, we're at a campsite and our friend kind of wandered off into the woods and we can't find her and it's really dark and I think there was a raccoon." And the 911 operator is so patient, like bless this person. They go, "Okay, how long has your friend been missing?" And Zoe goes, like 10 minutes. And the operator goes, "And how old is your friend?" And Zoe goes, 14. The operator goes, "Is she in immediate danger that you know of?" And Zoe goes, "I mean, the raccoon left." And the operator very gently explains that 10 minutes is not quite long enough to send a search party, but that we should keep calling her name, and that if she's not back in another 15 to 20 minutes, we should call back. Wow, Mickey, I can't believe you did that to me. So we hang up and we start yelling for Hannah again. "Hannah, Hannah." And then from like not even that far away, we hear, "I'm here. Why are you screaming? What is happening?" And Hannah walks out from behind a tree. She had literally just been like 20 feet away this whole time. She was not lost in the woods. She had tripped on a tent stake and sat down on the ground, and she was just sitting there in the dark waiting for someone to find her because she didn't want to yell and scare anyone. "Hannah! My girl, Hannah!" We were so relieved. And then we were all yelling at her, and she was like, "I didn't want to cause a scene." And we were like, "We called 911, Hannah. We called 911 over you sitting on the ground 20 feet away." Okay, so everyone is back. Everyone is safe. The raccoon is gone. We go back into the tent. We all just need to calm down and go to sleep, and we can laugh about this in the morning. We literally lay down. I'm talking heads on pillows, eyes closed. The tent collapsed. Not slowly, not gently. The whole thing just whoomp down on all 4 of us at once. That lopsided pole we had never correctly secured, yeah, done, finished. It gave up on us at 2:30 in the morning. So now we are all under this collapsed tent in the dark in the middle of the night, tangled up in nylon fabric, everyone's screaming again. Bailey is kicking someone. I think she kicked me. Hannah is completely calm, which honestly made it worse because she's just going, guys, I found the zipper. Stop kicking." And Zoe is laughing so hard she cannot breathe. Like Zoe, the person who planned this thing, is just cackling, losing her mind. And eventually, that made all of us laugh. Like we're laying under this collapsed tent at 2:30 a.m., having just called 911 for a missing person who was sitting 20 feet away, and we are all just completely losing it. We couldn't even be mad anymore. It was just too much. Okay, so we somehow get the tent partially back up, enough to crawl back inside. It's not pretty. One wall is completely unsupported and just kind of draped over Hannah like a blanket. But we're inside. We're off the ground. We close our eyes. Nobody sleeps. Like, we try. But after everything that happened, we are all just laying there listening to every single sound in the woods. Every leaf, every branch, every little rustle. We were done. Around 6:30 in the morning, the sky starts getting light. And Zoe sits up and goes, "Okay, I think we should go." And every single one of us said yes so fast. We packed up so quickly. Like, we moved at a speed I didn't know we were capable of. There was no discussion. There was no, "Oh, should we stay for breakfast?" We just silently threw everything in bags as fast as humanly possible. The tent was folded up in like 3 minutes. 3 minutes! It took us an hour and 15 to set it up, and we broke that thing down in 3 minutes flat. We were motivated. We called Zoe's sister, who, to her credit, came to get us without asking too many questions. And as we're driving back to town, it's about 7 in the morning, and nobody's really talking. We're all just sitting there looking out the windows, tired, raccoon traumatized, still in our matching tie-dye pajamas. And then Hannah, quiet, calm Hannah, goes, "Can we go to McDonald's?" So we got McDonald's. Zoe's sister drove us through the drive-thru at 7:30 in the morning in her pajamas without saying a single word. And we are forever grateful for her for that. We all got McGriddles and hash browns and orange juice. And we sat in that McDonald's parking lot in the early morning lights, and we just laughed. Like, truly laughed for a long time. Because what else do you do? What else can you do when a raccoon ate your barbecue chips and you accidentally called 911 and your tent fell on you? You get McDonald's and you laugh. And Zoe finally looked around at all of us and went, "Okay, maybe it wasn't exactly like the TikTok." And we all lost it. Because maybe Zoe? But here's the thing that I keep thinking about when I remember this story. Like, yeah, it was chaotic. Yeah, nothing went the way it was supposed to. Yeah, we called 911 unnecessarily and a raccoon destroyed our snacks and we slept approximately 0 minutes. But I also think about how hard we laughed. All 4 of us in matching tie-dye pajamas at 7:30 a.m. in a McDonald's parking lot. That memory is honestly one of my favorites. And that's kind of a Zoe thing. Like, somehow, even when her plans are a complete and total disaster, and they often are, they turn into something you remember forever. So, yeah, that's the camping trip story. Never let your most confident friend book the campsite without supervision. That is the lesson. Write that down. Okay, you guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you loved the story as much as I love telling it. And Zoe, if you're watching this, I love you. I do. But we are hiring a professional next time. If you want more stories like this, drop a comment down below and tell me which kind of story you want next. Embarrassing, dramatic, chaotic, we've got options. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here. I make shorts pretty much every day, and I'm trying to get more consistent on my longer videos, and I would love to have you around. Give this video a thumbs up if you survived the camping trip with us, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'll see you next time. Bye!